Isa pong muling pinagpalang araw sa inyong lahat. Marami pong salamat sa inyong patuloy na pakikipag-aralan ng salita ng Diyos. At higit po sa mga tinatalakay natin sa mga nakaraan. And today, we would like to continue our discussion of what we need to know about Bible versions or Bible translations. Part 2 po ito. And nang pong nakaraan na ating pinag-usapan ay nasabi nga po natin at tiningnan natin ang tatlong bagay. Una po ay ating nabanggit na translation involves interpretation. Wala pong isinalin sa Grego, sa Hebreo ng mga translator na hindi po nagkaroon ng tinatawag na interpretation dahil tigit sa ilang mga salita, ano po, na kanilang kinailangang ilagay sa wikang English o sa anumang ibang wika. Translation involves interpretation. Kaya din po nasabi natin sa nakaraan that the interpretation is based on what the original author would like to convey. At talaga pong masasabi natin ang translation ay ginawa na may pag-iingat ng mga grupo ng mga Bible scholars. Hindi po ito isang tao, kundi grupo ng mga Bible scholars na tingnan po nila kung paano magkakaroon ng maayos, ng malinaw na paghahambing o pagsasalin sa tinatawag po nating salita, ano ho, sa English man o kung saan mang wika. Yun po yung ating nakita nung nakaraan at we appreciate the fact na meron po tayong Biblia ngayon na maingat na i-interpret po sa atin, na i-translate sa atin ng grupo ng mga Bible scholars. And also, I have shown you yung pong tinatawag nating the Persian genealogy at pinakita nga po natin yung chart ng kung saan nagsimula ang mga Biblia, paano ito nagsangay-sangay. So the Persian genealogy is talking about how the Bible translation developed after the King James Version. Matapos ang King James Version ng 1611, pagkatapos ng 1901, American Standard Version, paano ito nagsanga-sanga, kailan at paano ito nagsimula ay ating pong inilarawan sa pamagitan ng chart nga po na inyong nakikita. At nabanggit din po natin mga kapatid na ang translation po ay masalimuot at dapat nga po tayong maging maingat sapagkat some issues sa translation po, it involves theological biases. It sometimes involved denominational lenses na ang isang tumitingin ng original and ng mga original languages ng Hebrew and Greek ay hindi po may iwasan na magsuot ng theological or denominational lenses batay po sa kanilang naiisip at kanilang napag-aralan. And also I mentioned to you about the gender neutral approach which is involved po sa translation, ano, na nagkaroon ng uh, kaganapan sa mga nakaraang mga panahon. Let me just say, mga kapatid, na we have inspired authors of the Bible. Kapag ang pag-uusapan po natin ay inspirasyon ng mga sumulat ng Biblia, wala pong kaduda-duda that we have the inspired authors of the Bible. But, ito po yung sinasabi nating subalit, pero we do not have inspired Bible translators. Wala pong kagaya ng mga apostol, ng mga propeta na inspired. Meron po silang inspiration that God guided and guarded them so that it will be given to us without error. Yun po yung inspiration. The guarding of God para po matiyak na mula po sa Kanya, mula sa mga apostol, patungo sa atin ay meron pong maayos na na revelasyon pa sa bawat sa atin. But inspired translators, there's no such thing as inspired translators. Sa part 2 po na ating ginagawa ngayon, we aim to number one, highlight some of the characteristics of Bible versions. Tingnan po natin ang iba't ibang mga versions ng Bible. Yung hawak po ninyo, tingnan po ninyo para malaman nyo kung saan ito lumalagay. Ano ho? And number two, our aim today is to suggest a translation you can use on occasions like preaching, when you're preaching, if you're a preacher. Uh, yung translation ng Biblia na magagamit nyo sa Bible study, o kaya naman ay kung kayo nagme-meditate lang or nagkakaroon ng quiet times or devotional time. And I will try and I will attempt to suggest kung ano po ang mga Bible translations na maaari ninyong magamit sa mga iba't ibang okasyon na ito. And we will examine 9 different popular translations. When I say popular translation, ito po yung aking perception. 9 different popular translations, and I will provide comments regarding this translation. Unahin na po natin, number one, ang King James Version. King James Version. KJV 1611. Generally po, ang King James Version ay gumamit ng word for word. Generally po, generally. And please underline the word generally. When I say generally, it is not in the absolute sense. Gumamit po ang King James Version ng word for word translation, approach to translation, and has been used for hundreds of years. Sabi ko nga po sa inyo last time, they just celebrated yung kanilang ika-4 na raang taon noong 2011. At hanggang ngayon ay marami pa rin pong gumagamit ng King James Version. Ang Gen Z po at ang the millennials will hardly use this version because of so many unfamiliar archaic words na hindi na po nila ma-bridge kung anong ibig sabihin, that they will need even to research on the words, kaya it will not be appreciated. Hindi po ito maging attractive sa tinatawag nating mga young generation, sa mga Gen Z, sa mga millennials, pwede pa siguro sa mga baby boomer, ano ho. Pero doon sa mga kabataan natin sa ngayon, it will not be appealing to them. The truth is, King James Version could still be a good reference for messages, sermon messages, Bible study preparations, and I can still say, yes, you can still use that. Some churches, even some churches today, are still using King James Version when they read the Christmas stories. At ito po'y pamilyar pa rin sa marami sa atin, lalo tigit kapag ang pag-uusapan po yung Psalm 23. Many of us could recite Psalm 23 through using King James Version. Nagkaroon po ng updated version, matagal, ang kasunod ng King James Version na tinawag nga po natin o tinawag na New King James Version, NKJV, noong 1982. It was Arthur Farstad of Dallas Theological Seminary and his co-workers who aimed to update the words, and grammar of the 1611 King James Version. Nakita nila ang pangangailangan na i-update po, na tingnan kung paano ito magiging mas appealing at mas magiging relevant para po sa mga panahong ito. And so they started thinking about updating the King James Version in 1970s. Noon pa po, iniisip na nila yon, as a reaction to Thoth for Thoth translation. Kasi sabi ko nga po sa inyo, ang King James Version ay kinikilala na, generally speaking, a word-for-word translation, kung ano yung nasa Greek and Hebrew, ay they try to follow exactly what was there. At nauso na nga po mga kapatid nung mga panahong yon, ng mga 1970s, yung thought for thought. Hindi na po word for word, kundi ano nga ba yung ideya? Ano nga ba yung sinasabi? Na kaya yun po ang isinasalin, yun ang itinatranslate. As a reaction to thought for thought, ay inisip po nila na i-update ang words and grammar ng King James Version, and they seem to propose na tila baga sinasabi na ang word for word or literal translation is still the reliable and best translation na pwedeng magawa. And so, here comes the New King James Version noong 1982. So, yun po yun, yung King James Version na update po sa pamagitan ng New King James Version. And I'm reading New King James Version. I tried to read New King James Version, and it's a good version. It's a good translation. Pangalawa po na gusto nating tingnan sa pagkakataong ito ay yung NASB, the New American Standard Bible. Kagaya po ng King James Version, mga kapatid, ang New American Standard Bible ay word for word translation. And so, this is so appealing to many conservative Christians. Now, this will be a recommended Bible, yung pong NASB, ay mairirekomenda ko po na gamitin na Bible translation ng mga nasa Bible College at nasa Bible Seminary na nagnanais na talagang magkaroon ng independent study o gumawa ng tinatawag nating mga word study. Kasi nga po, ang New American Standard Version, as I mentioned, I believe last time, they kept the words as much as possible. Kagaya po ng Sheol, kagaya po ng Hades, they simply transliterated. Binanghay sa Grego, sa Hebreo, binanghay po sa English. Transliteration po yun, hindi po itinranslate. At para bang sinasabi nila, ikaw ang mag-aral kung ano ang konteksto niyan, kung anong ibig sabihin niyan, at ikaw ang tumingin niyan. So, I am recommending the NASB to Bible college and Bible seminary students who would like to do a word study. Talagang pwede pa niyang gawin at dapat niyang gawin para marating po niya ang mas tamang interpretation. I'm not saying that lahat po dito sa NASB pwede niyong gawing word study. No, marami po namang maliwanag na mga salita na. And so, the NASB, the New American Standard Bible, is a good reference for accuracy. That's a very high positive word for NASB, for accuracy, because the translation maintain a close reading of the original word or text. And the NASB did not attempt to translate or interpret, but instead transliterated mostly sa kanya pong ginawa. Yung pong ginawa at sinikap ng mga translator ng NASB. And ito po, the NASB, the New American Standard Bible, decided against gender-neutral terms, and they decided to retain the gender-specific like man instead of mankind. At yun po yung makikita natin sa New American Standard Version. So, yun na po ang New American Standard Version. Again, kagaya po ng King James Version, it is a word-for-word approach to translation. Pangatlo po na gusto nating tingnan at bigyan ng kaunting comment ay ang English Standard Version o ang ESV 2001. Again, kagaya po ng ating unang dalawang nabanggit, ng King James Version, New King James Version, at ng New American Standard Bible, ang English Standard Version po ay word for word. Generally, a word for word translation. And so, again, kagaya po ng NASB, it is very appealing to many conservative Christians. This will be, again, a recommended Bible translation to Bible college or Bible seminary students, professors, and hindi lamang po sa mga Bible college professors and students, kundi pati na rin po sa mga preachers and teachers para po sa kanilang Bible teaching, Bible preaching na ginagawa. And so if you would like to get a good reference Bible for your Bible preaching, for your Bible teaching, which is solid, we can recommend the English Standard Version in this case. Ano po? Now, ang English Standard Version po, mga kapatid, kagaya ng New American Standard Version, they refused the gender-neutral approach to translation. They translated Genesis 1:26 at ito po nga ang sinabi, let us make man in our image after our likeness. Sa footnote po ay nakalagay po doon sa ESV, if you have ESV, may footnote po dyan at sasabihin doon, the Hebrew word man, Adam, is the generic term for mankind. Man is the generic term for mankind. So, makikita po nyo na inaamin po nila that it could be mankind, but man is the generic term for mankind. Yung po kasing man ay parang may pagka-masculine, but it's the generic term for mankind. So, yung pong ginawa ng ESV, ng English Standard Version. And gayon din po mga kapatid, ang English Standard Version, they kept the word shoal instead of translating or interpreting it. Ito po yung nasa Psalm chapter 49, if you would like to check your Bible, Psalm 49:14 and 15. Yung shoal, yung salita pong shoal. Pag binuksan niyo po ang ESV, makikita po niyo na naroon po yung salitang shoal. Makikita po niyo sa ibang mga version, it has been interpreted, translated, and interpreted. Gayun din po ang English Standard Version, they translated Hades in Matthew 16:18. Di po ba? Makikita niyo doon, and the gates of Hades. ESV translated Hades. Hindi po nilagay na the gates of Hades, kundi ang nilagay nila is the gates of hell. So, meron pong itinatranslate at meron pong hindi itinatranslate na mga salita. Kagaya nga po ng nakita natin, yung Sheol, they kept it as a Sheol, pero yung Hades ay itinranslate po nila na hell, the gates of hell. Now, makikita nga po natin mga kapatid na may iba't ibang approaches sa tinatawag po nating pagsasali ng Biblia. At ang ating nga pong test case dito, ang lagi nating tinitingnan ay yung pong Genesis chapter 1 at yun, titingnan din natin yung Psalm chapter 8 verse 4. So, naroon po yung tatlo nating nakita. Una, yung King James Version and the New King James Version, yung New American Standard Version, yung English Standard Version. Lahat po yan, halos mga kapatid, ay word for word. Yung una natin mga nabanggit, yung unang tatlo, And here comes next. Pang-apat po na nais kong isubmit sa inyo, the New Living Translation, na isa po na nagiging popular na translation sa marami ngayon, lalo tigit po sa mga kabataan, sa mga millennials, sa mga even maybe Gen Z. Ako. Now, the New Living Translation adopted a thoth for thoth, generally again, or ang tawag nga po nila ay dynamic equivalence approach to translation. Para mas madaling unawaan yung word for word, which is literal interpretation, at saka ngayon po naman ay thought for thought or idea for idea. Not necessarily mismong salita, kundi yung kabuuang idea. At yun po ang ginawa ng New Living Translation. Now, the translator team of the New Living Translation wanted to be exegetically accurate. Again, naroon po yung pagnanais nila na maging closed or closest to the original author's intention. And gusto po nila na magkaroon ng idiom na powerful in the sense of how the thought flow. Papaano bumabaybay ang mga kaisipan. So, yun po ang kanilang binabalansyado. They really want, at makikita po yun talaga ang mga translator, they are aiming for accuracy because there's a big responsibility. Translation is a big responsibility. So, lagi pong nag-aim ng accuracy closest to the original's author's intention, but at the same time, yung pong idioms ay nagfo-flow. May power, may relevancy, may usefulness, at nababalansyado po yung dalawang ngayon, yung accuracy at yung readability. Now, the New Living Translation, mga kapatid, can be traced back from Kenneth Taylor's The Living Bible, na unang-una po na isang sumikat na translation noong mga 1970s, which is a paraphrase. Kagaya po ng nabanggit ko, ang The Living Bible ay paraphrased. Sinabi sa kanyang salita, sa kanya, on his own words, using his own words. At ito po ay paraphrase translation ng ASB, American Standard Version, na nagsimula po noong 1901. Ang New Living Translation po, mga kapatid, ay ipinablish, just to give you a little background, ng Tyndale House Publishers. Tyndale House Publishers became successful through the sales of their series, Left Behind. So, ewan ko po kung napanood po niyo yun at ito po yung naging isang sikat na Christian movie, yung Left Behind. Dahilan nga po mga kapatid sa kanilang success ng sales nito, ng movie nito na Left Behind, they were able to sponsor this kind of translation, the New Living Translation. So, Tyndale House Publishers decided to publish another translation, but unlike the Living Bible, they decided to make another translation that is close to the Greek. Unlike po ng una nilang ginawa, the Living Bible, which was simply a paraphrase. Kinuha, hinango mula po sa American Standard Bible at inilagay sa kaisipan, sa salita na napapanahon, kagaya po ng ginawa nga po ng the Living Bible. What about Genesis 1:26? Anong ginawa po ng New Living Translation? Well, the New Living Translation consistently used the gender neutral approach to translation. Gender neutral languages. Tas ganito po ang kanilang ginawa na translation sa Genesis 1:26. Then God said, "Let us make human beings in our image to be like us. Yan po ay gender neutral in the sense na hindi po tinukoy na Adam, kundi pangkalahatan. Ganon din po ang Psalm chapter 8 verse 4, which is our another test verse po ng mga translation natin. Psalm chapter 8 verse 4. Na ang sabi naman po ng New Living Translation ay ganito, what are mere mortals? Ang ginamit po ay, sa halip na what is man, ay what are mere mortals that you should think about them. Here's another word, human beings, the Son of Man, that you should care for them. So, they use the gender-neutral approach to translation. Yan po ang living translation. Kasi kung makikita po nyo, kagaya po ng ESV, ang sinabi po sa Psalm chapter 8 verse 4 ay, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you care for him. Okay, ito naman po ang panglima. Nakaapat na po tayo. Panglima po, pagkatapos ng New Living Translation, ay ang the New International Version, NIV. The NIV committee claimed that they use a word-for-word approach. Yun daw po ang ginamit nila at ito ang kanilang kiniklaim. But its product is generally a combination of word-for-word and thought-for-thought approaches. Kumbaga, ito nga po yung optimal equivalence. Marami pong opinyon patungkol po sa ginawa ng NIV version o ng New International Version. NIV, the New International Version, often translates some Hebrew and Greek words rather than keep the original words like what the New American Standard Version did. Hindi po nila, they did not keep it. Hindi nila ginawang show, hindi po nila ginawang, they translated it. Hindi po nila iniiwan na, hindi ipinaliwanag tila man din, kundi parang sinasabi sa ito ang ibig niyang sabihin. Right? At yan po ang nature ng New International Version. And let me just make a comment about the word international. New International Version. Yung pong the word international there signifies where the contributors of Bible translators came from. Saan ba nang galing itong mga Bible translator, itong mga Bible scholars na ito? And that is, they came from the different parts of the world. Yes, literally international po talaga. Ang ilang pong mga Bible translator na translators ng version na ito ay galing sa US, may galing sa Canada, may galing sa Great Britain, may galing sa Australia, at meron pong galing sa New Zealand, to name a few. At yan po ay mga Bible scholars na nanggaling sa iba't ibang bansa, kaya po makikita niyo doon sa salita niya yung international, the New International Version, NIV. Now, let me tell you a good thing. The Restoration Movement. Ipasok po natin ito, dali natin ito sa ating pag-uusap. The Restoration Movement has Bible scholars, praise God, who are in the translation works of the New International Version. Alam po niyo kung sino? Ang mga Restoration Movement scholars na ito, number one, si Louis Foster of then Cincinnati Bible College and Seminary from the Christian churches. Praise God po, I was able to meet and talk to this guy in the 1980s, 788. Naroon pa po siya sa Cincinnati noon. Very brilliant Bible scholars of the New Testament. And he can teach without notes. And when he taught during those days, may kasamang damdamin as if parang naroon pa siya sa lugar na yon kung ano yung kinukwento niya. A very brilliant, very passionate Professor Louis Foster. Siya po ay isa sa mga translator ng New International Version. Ang pangalawa pong miyembro ng Restoration Movement na nag-translate po, Bible scholars na nag-translate ng version na ito ay mula naman po sa Non-Instrumental Brotherhood, si Jack Lewis of Harding Graduate School ng Tennessee. Siya po naman ay galing sa Non-Instrumental Brotherhood. Kaya meron pong from the Christian Church at meron naman pong from the Non-Instrumental Brotherhood. So yun po yung New International Version. And it is a project, ang NIV po ay project ng conservative evangelicals to produce a translation comparably usable or functional to the King James Version. Ano po ang pagkakaiba ng King James Version sa NIV? Well, obviously malaki po. Pero the NIV took or used a different Greek New Testament compared with the Greek New Testament that King James Version used. Kasi meron din pong iba't ibang mga Greek New Testament na salin. Hindi lang po kasi iisa. Meron pong iba't ibang version din po ang Greek New Testament. At iba po ang pinagkuha ng Greek New Testament ng King James Version at iba rin po ang Greek New Testament na pinagkuhanan ng New International Version. Yun po ang pagkakaiba nila. Yung pinaghugutan na Greek New Testament. For a long period of time, mga kapatid, I can tell you and I can testify that the New International Version was and maybe is the most popular version everywhere and to many Bible readers. When its first edition was published in 1978, then 1984, and became available online ang NIV noong November 2010. And just like what I said, I still keep my 1984 NIV copy na akin nga pong ipinahayos kasi talaga pong halos sira-sira na ang cover sa aking kaibigang pastor at kaibigang matalik si Pastor Clarito Manuel Villarmino na nilagyan po niya ng parang ganito. Ito po yung ESB ko at nilagyan din po niya ng leather yun. Still remain to be seen. Because I love it. I love the 1984 New International Version. Ito po ay ESB. At pareho po niyang ginawa ito. There are two more translation na mga kapatid affiliated or connected to the New International Version. Meron pa po itong kamag-anak, kapamilya. At ang kapamilya po ng NIV ay number 1, the New International Reader's Version. NIRV. 1990 po ito na-publish. And this version caters to those whose English is second language. Kagaya ko po, kagaya natin, hindi po tayo English-speaking country. So yung pong NIRV, New International Reader's Version, ay naaangkop sa atin at nababagay sa atin. Kasi po tayo ay isang bansa na kung saan ang English ay second language. Isa pa po na affiliated kapamilya konektado sa NIV ay yung Today's New International Version. TNIV na na-publish naman po ng 2002. Now, ito po namang Today's New International Version both praised and criticized for its use of gender-neutral language. Pare po siyang kinatutuwaan, pero at the same time, siya rin po'y kinikriticize dahilan sa kanyang gender-neutral language. Paggamit po ng ganitong language. Again, makikita po natin sa NIV's earliest edition, 1978 and 1984, they did use the masculine man, like in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. At ganyan din po sa Psalm chapter 8, verse 4, ginamit nila yung salitang man, 1978 po NIV, 1984 NIV. But later, especially in its 2011 edition, translator began using the gender-neutral language. At ito po ang kanilang pagkakasalin. Genesis 1:26, let us make human beings so that they are like us. Human beings. Psalm 8:4, another test verse. What is mankind that you are mindful of them, human beings that you care for them? Now, let me say that I can recommend the New International Version for all kinds of discipleship studies. Inirekomenda po natin yan. Many preachers recommend and use the NIV for preaching and teaching purposes than any translations. Hanggang ngayon po, pag makikita po nyo, maraming mga tagapangaral natin at kung ito po'y gumagamit ng English translation, most probably kapag nakita po nyo ang kanyang Bible, ang kanyang English translation, makikita po nyo sa ating maraming mga tagapangaral, the New International Version. Depende nga lang po kung anong year na-publish yun, kung ito yung 1978, 1984, or 2010, 2011. Now, for those whose native language is not English, kagaya nga po natin mga kapatid na English is our second language, I would say that the NIV is a better translation than any other translation. Dito na po tayo sa NIV kung at dahilan sa tayo po ay hindi natin native language ang English. Ano ho? Kasi ito po ay ginawan nga po ng translation na para nga po sa mga lalo tigit yung ano po yung kanilang ginawa lately na yung nabanggit ko nga po na translation nila na New International Readers Version. Okay, pumunta po tayo sa kasunod mga kapatid. Pang-anim na translation titingnan po natin ay ang Holman Christian Standard Bible, HCSB, 1999. Now, ang Holman Christian Standard Bible po ay originally called the Christian Standard Bible, CSB. But later on, they decided to include its publisher's name. At ang pangalan po ng publisher ay Broadman and Holman. And this is the publishing house, for your information, of the Southern Baptist. Yung pong Broadman and Holman. Publishing house po ito ng Southern Baptist. So, as mentioned in our previous discussion, ang Holman Christian Standard Bible po mga kapatid, this translation follows the optimal equivalence, or what I mean is a combination of both the word for word and thought for thought or idea for idea translation. So, hindi po lamang siya word for word kagaya ng King James Version, New King James Version, kagaya ng NASB, kagaya po ng English Standard Version, kundi ito po ay parang combination ng word for word and thought for thought, kaya po tinawag na optimal equivalence. Now, some characteristics of the Holman Christian Standard Bible is its readability. Yung pong maayos na mabasa at madaling mabasa for it is written in contemporary English. But at the same time, bagamat po contemporary ang English niya, the Holman Christian Standard Bible stays close to the original Hebrew and Greek words. At yan po ang mahalaga. Kaya, again, ang Holman Christian Standard Bible this is a recommended Bible for many of us for personal study, for private devotion, and even for Bible memorization. Maganda po ang Holman Christian Standard Bible sa mga ganitong mga gawain. Personal study, private devotions, quiet times, and even for memorization. One feature of this translation, mga kapatid, is its translation of the divine name. And they translated the divine name Yahweh, which some probably would not appreciate. So they translated the divine name Yahweh rather than Jehovah. At makikita nga po natin mga kapatid yung some inconsistency in translation na nakita po, kagaya po ng Exodus chapter 15 verse 3, the name Lord can be replaced to the second line rather than using or saying Yahweh, or they could have used Yahweh on both. Pero makikita po niyo mga kapatid, ang Exodus chapter 15 verse 3 ng Holman Christian Standard Bible, the Lord is a warrior, Yahweh is his name. Actually, you can put the Lord, Yahweh is a warrior, or Yahweh is a warrior and Yahweh is his name, or you can put the Lord is a warrior and the Lord is his name. Because and naroon nga po yung napupunan ng iba na inconsistency bakit parehong divine name ay magkaiba ang translation sa isang verse. A minimal comment. Minimal comment. Ganito po ang kanilang ginamit na pagta-translate po ng ating test verse, Genesis 1:26. Ang sabi po ng Holman Christian Standard Bible, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. So, Holman Christian Standard Bible retained or kept the traditional masculine gender. And also in Psalm chapter 8, verse 4, na ang sabi po, what is man that you remember him, the son of man that you look after him. Even the pronoun is masculine. All right. Moving forward po, let's continue. Ito na po yung pangpito, the message. Eugene Peterson was a professor of Regent College in Vancouver, British Columbia, and he was also a Christian pastor, a poet, and a great author of the book. Many books. At isa po sa nabasa ko na napakahusay na aklat ni Eugene Peterson is Along Obedience to the Same Direction. Alam ko po, marami nakabasa ng book na ito. And Eugene Peterson desired to produce a Bible that would be readable and not only readable, even dramatic to the hearts of the people reading and listening the love letter of God. Readable and even dramatic. Kasi siya nga po ay poetic. And so the message was first published in 1993 and updated in 2002 and to 2018, which was the year that he passed away, 2018. Now, Eugene Peterson is an individual writer po or translator po ng tinatawag nating the message. And he translated using the original text. Professor po siya. No doubt about that. He's a scholar. So, He used the original text from Hebrew and Greek, and ito po ang maganda pa. About 20 Old and New Testament Bible scholars, kaya hindi po siya nag-iisa, 20 Old and New Testament Bible scholars from different backgrounds and different denominations, they read and reviewed the Message translation, which was started, pioneered by Eugene Peterson. And the Message is not, yung pong translation nito, the Message is not a translation, but a paraphrase. It is a paraphrase. Hindi po ito word for word. Hindi po ito thought for thought. Ito po'y paraphrase. I mean, it is a product of an individual, Eugene Peterson, who puts the scriptures into his own words. He said it into his own words by three things: by understanding the text, by meditating the text, and by interpreting the text. But, sabi ko nga po sa inyo mga kapatid, using the original text from Hebrew and Greek. Malalim po ito. At maayos ang pagkakagawa. Pero, ito lang po. Let's go to the test verse natin. Genesis 1:26. Paano po itinranslate ng the Message ang Genesis 1:26? Ang sabi po ganito, God spoke, let us make human beings in our image. Make them reflecting our nature. Again, gender neutral, hindi lalaki, hindi babae, hindi po ginamit yung Adam, yung man, kundi human beings. Sa chapter 8 verse 4, makikita po nyo ang medyo kakaibang mga panalita na ginamit po ni Eugene Peterson. Ang sabi niya sa ating test, first Psalm 8:4, the Message, I look up at your macro skies. Napaka-poetic, ano? Dark and enormous, your handmade sky jewelry, moon and stars mounted in their settings. Then I look at my micro self and wonder, why do you bother with us? Why take a second look our way? Ganyan po ang translation ng Message. If you like that kind of translation, and I do, I mean, I read the Message one time, 1 year. I like it. And I will recommend, ito na pong recommendation, I will recommend or refer the Message to a college student. So raise your hand if you're a college student. If you're a college student, I will recommend the Message translation who has never read the Bible before. Hindi mo pa nababasa ang Biblia? First time mo magbabasa ng Biblia? Well, if you want to read the Bible and you have not read the Bible through from Genesis to Revelation, I recommend to you, young man, young woman, use the Message translation. And even to a college student and young professionals who lost their appetite for Bible reading. Yung parang, parang ayoko na magbasa uli ng from Genesis to Revelation. Try the Message translation. Now, ito din pong translation na ito is a good for personal devotion. Personal devotion or meditation or quiet times. I will hesitate to recommend this for group Bible study, for sharing. Although the translation could add some flavoring sa mga discussion ng mga Bible study, for the purpose of lively discussion, yeah, it can help you. It can probably enlighten you and energize. But for Bible study, I will hesitate. I'm not saying I will not, but I will hesitate to recommend this translation. But for personal devotion, I can recommend this to you. Now, what about during church services? Can you use the message? It can be used sporadically, occasionally, I mean. When giving communion meditation, sure. When giving stewardship meditations, sure. Definitely not a suitable reference. Listen to this. If you are preaching, if you are a minister of the gospel, if you're a pastor, definitely not a suitable reference for teaching doctrine or expository preaching. You can use it as a reference on what it says, but not as the source of your expository preaching or Bible doctrine. Okay? So yun po yun. Now, pumunta na po tayo closer to the heart. At ito na po yung last two natin. Number 8, Tagalog po itong dalawang. Last two na ito, Tagalog. Ang una po ay let's look at ang dating Biblia, ADB 1905. Actually, meron po itong 1978 and then 2001, I believe. At ang dating Biblia po, like the NIV and the New International Version and the English Standard Version as English translation, this is recommended for standard Tagalog preaching and Bible study. Kapag po merong mga Tagalog preaching, kapag po merong mga Tagalog Bible study, I will really recommend ito pong ang dating Biblia 1905, 1978 I believe and 2001 para po sa mga preaching and Bible study kasi napakalapit po nito nasalin sa English at gayon din po sa original text. Okay? Now, makikita po niyo mga kapatid na sa ating again, sa ating test verse, yung ating tinitingnan laging talata sa chapter 1 verse 26. At sinabi ng Diyos, Genesis 1:26, lalangin natin ang tao. Well, sabihin natin, well, tao is gender neutral, hindi lalaki, hindi babae, which is tama naman po. Lalangin natin ang tao sa ating larawan, ayon sa ating wangis. At makikita po nyo sa kasunod, at nilang ng Diyos ang tao ayon sa kanyang sariling larawan, ayon sa larawan ng Diyos, siya nilalang niya sila na lalaki at babae. Yung pong tao, lalangin natin ang tao, ay wala naman pong problema na hindi na siya po ay gender neutral, human beings, mankind, kasi sinabi naman po talaga na yung pong human beings doon sa verse 26 ay malalaki at babae. Gayun din po mga kapatid ang chapter 8 verse 4 ng awit, sabi doon, ano ang tao? What is man? Ano ang tao upang iyong alalahanin siya at ang anak ng tao upang iyong dalawin siya. Okay, makikita po natin yung gender neutral language. Hindi sinabing lalangin natin ang lalaki, man, kumbaga literal, napaka-literal talaga, dogmatic. Lalangin natin ang lalaki, hindi po, kundi lalangin natin ang tao. Gender neutral language in Genesis 1:26 and chapter 8 verse 4 po ng Psalm sa Tagalog translation. At sabi ko nga po sa inyo mga kapatid, nothing alarming. Walang nakakaalarma dito na gender neutral po ang chapter 1 verse 26 ng Genesis. At ganyan din po ang Psalm 8:4. In my understanding, in my perspective, wala pong masama. Especially when both men and women are in the context. Underline po. In the context. Ang tinutukoy naman talaga sa konteksto ay ang lalaki at babae. Kaya hindi masama at hindi mali at tama naman ang mga translator na hindi translate na let us make man, kundi talagang pwedeng sabihin let us make mankind or human beings. Ano po? Sa Tagalog, lalangin natin ang tao. And let me also submit to you po na ang dating Biblia 1905, they retained the word Sheol in Psalm 49:14. Pag nakita po nyo, Sheol ang ginamit po nila sa awit 49:14. At ganyan din po, they also retain the word Hades doon po sa at ang pintuan ng Hades ano, ay hindi makakapanaig. They also retain that, which is a transliteration. Hindi po translation, kundi transliteration. At yun po ang ginawa ng ang dating Biblia. Kaya din po mga kapatid, one more translation and we're done. Ang Magandang Balita Biblia Pangsyam. Ito po ang pangsyam nating sinasagmit. Magandang Balita Biblia, MBB Tagalog. The Old Testament was published in 2005. Yung pong New Testament ay na-publish ng 2012. Ito pong paliwanag ng Philippine Bible Society patungkol po sa Mabuting Balita Biblia. And I quote, ang MBB ay nagsikap na iwasan na gumamit ng malalalim na salitang Tagalog at mga salitang kolokyal o mga salitang naunawaan ng iilang lugar lamang. May mga salita sa MBB, Mabuting Balita Biblia, na hindi na masyadong ginagamit sa karaniwang pag-uusap. Halimbawa, patutot para sa isang babaeng nagbebenta ng aliw, pakakak para sa trumpeta at marami pang iba. Para sa mga pangalan ng Diyos sa lumang tipan, matapat na ginamit ang katumbas sa salita para sa isang pangalan upang maipakita ang kanya-kanyang katangian at kaibahan. Halimbawa, ang Elohim ay isinalin bilang Diyos. Yung pong Elohim na Greek, na Hebrew ay sinalin na Diyos. Samantalang ang salitang YHWH o ang tetragrammaton ay isinalin bilang Yahweh. Ito ay ginawa, ayon sa kanila, upang maipaalam sa mga mamabasa ang pagkakaiba nito sa salitang Adonai na isinalin naman bilang Panginoon. So they're just trying to make a distinction in order for us to recognize ano ba yung specific na tinutukoy na divine name. Okay? So, how can we recommend Magandang Balita Biblia? Well, you know what? I believe that MBB, Tagalog, ay maganda pong gamitin for devotional time, especially yung narrative stories, yung mga kwento po sa gospel. And if you want to really see how it works and how it flows, yung mga narratives, yung mga kwento, I would say, mas maganda pong basahin ang Magandang Balita at Biblia kaysa doon sa ang dating Biblia Tagalog 1905 sa mga narrative stories, sa mga kwento sa Ebanghelyo. You will appreciate it more dito po sa translation na ito. And again, ang MBB po ay good reference for some devotional preachings, mga meditations, small groups meditation, small groups preaching, but not for Bible doctrine. Hindi po ito magandang reference for Bible doctrine. And I will hesitate na gamitin po ito sa mga Bible doctrine. Babala po sa paggamit ng Tagalog Bible, mga kapatid, bagamat ay submitted to you yung ang dating Biblia, 1905, at saka itong Magandang Balita Biblia, it will be a good move, mga kapatid, a great idea, full of wisdom for the preachers, most especially, and teachers. If you read an English translation with the Tagalog Bible for clarity or better comprehension. Kapag ikaw ay mangangaral, kapatid, ng salita ng Diyos at hawak mo ang Tagalog Bible, maaari ba na ipakiusap ko sa iyo na gumamit ka rin ng isang standard English translation katabi ng Tagalog para mas maging maliwanag ang iyong pinag-aaralan na ibibigay na mensahe o pag-aaral. Bibigyan ko po kayo kung bakit mahalaga na magkatabi ang isang Tagalog Bible at gayon din po ang English Bible translation. Ito po, makikita po niyo mga kapatid sa Lucas 17:14 sa Mabuting Balita, Tagalog, ganito pong pagkakasabi. Pagkakita sa kanila ay sinabi ni Jesus, "Lumakad na kayo at magpatingin sa mga pari." There was a time po na napakinggan po namin ni Sister Edna ito pong mensahe dito na tungkol po sa Lucas 17. At nakita po namin, hawak namin ng Biblia at nakita po namin yung translation ng Mabuting Balita, Tagalog, na sinabi po doon sa 17:14, lumakad na kayo doon po sa mga ketungin, lumakad na kayo at magpatingin sa mga pari. Now, alam po natin ang konteksto nito sa Old Testament na kapag po mga may skin disease at para malaman kung mahusay na o magaling na ang isang tao, ay kinakailangang ipakita mo ang sarili mo sa mga saserdote upang mabigyan ka at masabing, "Oh, okay, hindi ka na isolated, puwede ka ng lumabas, puwede ka na uling sumama sa community." Ah, at hindi po kagaya ng salitang magpatingin kasi what I'm saying is parang sabi na nga namin ni Sir Edinel, parang yung salitang magpatingin, magpa-check-up. Well, it could be that way. Kapag ang ginamit mo lamang ay ang Tagalog Bible, magpatingin at ikaw eh wala ng ibang pinagbatayan, wala ka ng ibang binasa kundi yung Tagalog na yon, lumakad na kayo at magpatingin at hindi mo pa alam ang konteksto ng mga kagaya nito, magpatingin, magpakonsulta, maaaring maisip mo, then you're lost. Kasi ito po ang ibig sabihin talaga. At maliwanag po ang sinabi ng English Standard Version. Ang translation ay ganito. Luke 17:14. When he saw them, he said to them, God, go and show yourselves to the priest. Go and show. Go and show. Ipakita mo. Hindi magpatingin. Pumunta ka at ipakita mo ang iyong sarili para malaman mo kung ikaw ay pwede nang ma-isolate. Mga kapatid, let me just, as we wrap up, let me give you some suggestions regarding po sa mga Bible translations. For Bible doctrine, Bible preaching, use word for word and thought for thought approaches to translation, such as English Standard Version, New International Version, New Living Translation, and yung pong ating Tagalog, ang dating Biblia Tagalog. Ito po ay for Bible doctrine, Bible teaching, Bible study, and preaching. Hindi ko po sinasabing huwag na huwag ninyo gagamitin ng Mabuting Balita Biblia o ibang translation. Hindi ko po sinabi yon. Pero mas dapat nag-heavily rely po tayo dito sa mga word for word and thought for thought translation sa mga Bible doctrine and preaching. Pangalawa pong suggestion ko, and this is, I'm emphasizing the word suggestion. When you want to encourage someone to read the Bible for the first time, give them as a starter, magpapasimula po lamang, starter, any paraphrase version like the Message. Huwag po niyong aabutan ng ngayon pa lamang magbabasa ng Biblia na King James Version or ng New King James Version. If this is the first time na babasahin nila ang Biblia, give them a paraphrased version to give to start yung po tinatawag nating appetite to read the Bible. So the Message or the Living Bible would be a good translation. Iaabot po nyo sa hindi pa nakakapagbasa ng Biblia for the first time or yung nawala ng appetite sa pagbabasa ng Biblia and they want to go back reading the Bible, give them a paraphrased version. The Message or the Living Bible. Pangatlo po, use thought for thought. Suggestion ko po. Use thought for thought translation for your devotion or meditation. At kapag kayo nagko-quiet time lang, nagbabasa, nagbe-meditate ang salita ng Diyos for your own purposes, for your own edification, for your own strengthening, you may use this. Yung New International Version, yung New Living Translation, at yung Tagalog po natin, yung Mabuting Balita Biblia. Translation po ng for devotion or meditation. Pang-apat ko pong suggestion, when studying the Bible, compare translations for better understanding and comprehension. Masanay po tayong nagkukumpara ng mga translation. Huwag po kayong maghawak lang ng isang Biblia, ng isang translation, kundi sanayin po natin ang ating mga sarili na nagbabasa ng iba't ibang translation kapag tayo nag-aaral. It will liberate you. It will help you a lot. And you will learn a lot. Do not rely on one translation. And pang-limang suggestion ko po sa inyo, read through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation using different translation each year. Sa biyaya po ng Diyos, this is what I did since, let me say, 2013, na when I read the Bible, when I read through the Bible, I look for different translation each year. Kaya halos nadaanan na po natin lahat halos yung iba't ibang ilang translation for 10, 13 years, 14 years. Iba't ibang translation. That's why I can really submit to you na maganda pong gawin. Kasi if you're gonna be reading the same translation, for example po, every year you're reading from Genesis to Revelation, NIV. Next year, NIV ulit. Next year, NIV na naman. Which is, it's not wrong. It's okay. But, it will be something different, something energetic, something na maybe you will be looking forward to if you will be reading different translation each year from Genesis to Revelation. 5 suggestion po that I would like to submit with you. Mga kapatid, salamat po sa inyong patuloy na pakikinig, pagantabay sa mga ganitong pag-uusap at lalo tigit po sa Bible translation na palagay ko po ay nagkaroon ng puwang at katulungan sa inyong lahat. Muli po mga kapatid, nagpapasalamat po ang inyong lingkod, Brother Jonathan Orillas, at nagbibigay ng papuri sa Panginoon. Hanggang sa muli po, pagpalain kayo ng Panginoon.